I went back out in the night in Mandeville, no taxi going south. I said, oh man, how am I going to get home? But then I remember Mr. Olivier is going to come and get me. So I said, all right, if I get to Gutters and he's coming up, he will see me and then he'll give me a ride and take me home, right? So that's what I did. I get to Gutters. I got to Gutters to get a ride from someone that was heading to Southfield, dropped me off for the True Gate, and then I rushed down. I saw my friend. I asked him to give me a ride on the bike. I didn't get a chance to tell anyone I was leaving, except those people that I saw at the shop in Morningside, you know. And I remember this guy, man, when I showed him what the visa was, I told him I'm leaving the next day. He said, can I see the visa? And I said, yes. So I showed him the visa and he said, this is what they all trying to get. I said, yeah, this is what. He said, man, I don't have any money. So he's pushed his hand in his pocket and he take out $50. He said, this is all I have, man. Here it is. And he gave me that $50. And up to today, man, I have tell that guy thanks all the time. When I go to Jamaica, I make sure I bring something for that guy. How much, you know, show him how much I appreciate what he did, because he was the only one that gave me $50. You know what I mean? And I think that I honestly really appreciate that. I'm sure he recognized that by now. And that is just one of the many stories.
Well, we're trying to get back Coach on. His internet is acting up. But in the meantime, I kind of share a little my story. And I still will have a big question for Coach if we get him back on here. So really and truly, for me, I was an athlete, as I said, running at the primary all-age school level. And with that, you know, I didn't even think about doing common entrance or anything like that. You know, I was just that person who was saying that, okay, I was going to travel farmer like my father, you know, go to Canada back in the days. And I don't think I had the right, I wouldn't say, but the push that I needed for somebody to tell, guess what, your education is the most important thing. I was just running like a little kid, and giddy head all over the place. And I was surprised. I was in the hills shooting bird. And it's during this time that, you know, I would basically I'm more like the coach mentor for Rosal, send her son in the hills to find me that Mike Olivier need your stats to run for stats. You know, that's all you hear, you know, that they were buying people at that time. So and Mike Olivier, he's a good scout. He will go across the communities, the different school, and he look at the talent and he highlight those talents. Sometimes you're not the smartest, but he just realized that, you know, you have something about you. So I did not make it into states basically because of academically, you know, I was a pretty smart kid, right? But I never take any common entrance, and it was then that I did my states entrance to come there. And I actually passed with a high score, and he called me out. He said, come here. He said, do you know you came in the school with one of the highest average, you know, and you're talented. But for my story, my athletic career just finished pretty fast, as I went to states at a class 3 athlete, and there were so many class 3 who were running some pretty fast time. I was doing 1, 2, and 3, but I was first year class 3. He said, guess what? While you're here, I'm gonna prepare you. So I'll train with like Preston and Scott, running the hills, Santa Cruz, and my brother Wayne Levy. He was just trying to build me for when these guys leave. But then the worst thing that had happened, Dennis, was he said, join Baker over by the high jump pit. Because just like how he was putting the other person around till, you know, they find themselves. So I guess with the height that I have, he said, try the high jump. I went over there as class 3. I actually jumped the height that Baker was jumping, and he was class 1. But I didn't have the techniques or anything. So at one point I was going over the bar. Boy, my long foot them hit me straight in the forehead, and people probably want that. Right here is a little cut that still shows, you know. So I got hit there, and my mother said, that's it for athletics. You done, track and field done. Because I end up in Kingston, serious surgery and all those stuff. But despite of that, Olivier still didn't leave me, you know, because I could only pivot by asking to do cricket, because my daddy loved cricket, so that's why I did cricket. But Mike Olivier, right through, he would be with me, he'd check on me, he make sure I'm okay. He said, JB, how the boy doing, JB? And, you know, he still fuel you even though he knew I was over with the track and field. But I have to give thanks to Mike Olivier, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't get to States. I probably would not be sitting here tonight.
Mm.
So, that is just my little part and my gratitude towards him and so many other people like him who is out there. We need more of Mike Olivier. Sorry that, he's having this internet issue. But Dennis, you know a lot of the stories with him. And, we just have you to continue probably.
Yeah, because I know one of, and I'm sure it'd better for him to tell the story about Mark Sr., who was one of the first Olympian athlete that he coached. That is also a very beautiful story it would be best for him to share that story. I mean, every athlete that passed through States has some form of stories. I mean, I remember even for me, while I was attending States, I had challenges in terms of getting to school from where I was living. So I remember one time I got an opportunity to stay somewhere down. I think I don't know if you call it Goshen. I think it's Goshen, right? In a very big house down there. And I'm telling you, man, I had a bad experience in that house. I had to leave that house. And end up going down by Stets to stay in the dormitory with those soccer players. I had to stay in that dormitory, and staying in the dormitory, is not the best place you want to be because of the smell of the sweat and the dirty shoes and all that type of thing. So I had to navigate my way out of there. And then not only that, but all your gadget could come up missing. You know what I mean? All that type of thing. So I end up leaving and go and stay with some of the guys who were also a part of the track team who, live about a mile away from the school. It was a challenge. But nevertheless, we pushed through. And if it wasn't for him again, I know that I would not have made it this far. I don't even know what my life would have been like. So I have to say thanks, Mr. Olivier.
And thanks to so many others, have similar story. I have friends that would, come all the way from St. Mary's. When I go back to see where some of my friends live, I have to ask myself, how Olivier get to find people all the way over here, so.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I asked him about the little bike, Olivier had a little bike. I think that bike was made for hills. He probably be able to share that story, him and that little bike and some of the journey that he put that bike through.
I guess I didn't know that bike. I don't think I remember that bike. I remember that small white car.
You asking me a bike, man?
Yeah. So here another story. So when I was attending Stets, right? Nobody knew that I was hungry, right? I'll go to school, and I guess my demeanor tells everybody that I am okay. But they didn't know that I was hungry. And up to today, Mr. Olivier he hasn't mentioned how he found out. He came to me one day and he called me in the office. And he pushed me in the wall and closed the door and said, and give me some quick slap in my stomach and say, man, you mean to tell me all this time? Because when I'm training, I give it my all, right? And he said, you mean all this time your belly empty? You're hungry? And you say nothing. And, I hold my head down, and in my thought, all I'm saying, okay, he found out, he's going to do something about it, right? And he did. I remember he invited me down to his house, and he was cooking that morning, cooking some ackee and saltfish for breakfast, and was taking the kids to school, to the prep school, and he said, you stay here and finish the ackee and saltfish and thing. And then he came to me one day, and I tell this story all the time. You know what I mean? And I need a bigger platform to tell this story. He came to me and he said, okay, so his family have a restaurant in Santa Cruz. And he said to me, he wants me to go there every day that I'm at Stets. Every single day I'm at Stets, I should go there and have a meal.